Public speaking is often cited as the most common fear among the entire human population. I was once one of those people who was absolutely terrified of speaking in public, giving a speech to my class, or anything of that nature. And over the past year or two, I have been able to kind of manage that fear and anxiety and become a really confident public speaker. So I wanted to quickly share with you all today my tips for speaking publicly. The first thing to do when you are assigned to speak publicly is to understand exactly what is expected of you and then plan accordingly. So as soon as I was assigned to give my 5 to 7 minute oratory speech for English like a few months ago, the first thing I did was make a checklist of everything that I needed to accomplish in order to be successful for the speech. So the first thing to be aware of is your time limit. Do not go over your allotted time if possible. It's a really easy way to lose your audience's interest and will end up being less successful than you would have been if you stayed within your time limit. And if you have the option of a visual aid or making note cards of any sort, make sure you take advantage of that. And so I clearly planned out all of that in a checklist. This whole spread was in my bullet journal, and I find that making sure you write down everything you want to accomplish makes it very likely that you will eventually accomplish that task because you feel accountable for it since it's on a list with a box that is unchecked. If you have to give a speech on a topic that you are unfamiliar with, the absolute best thing you can do to prepare is to know your material well. Be prepared to answer questions at the end of the speech if that's something you need to be prepared for, and make sure you take time to do additional research and incorporate that into your speech as well. You should also know more about your topic than what you put in your speech, and when you have to prepare for something like this, I find it is extremely helpful to invest yourself completely into this project, because if you show your audience that you are knowledgeable and passionate and that you care about the subject, at least to some extent, they will more likely to be engaged with you and be willing to listen to what you have to say. So making sure you do your research, whether it be online or in the library or on databases available in your school, it is so important to make sure you know your stuff, because if you are confident in the material that you need to cover, you would be less nervous than if you didn't prepare as much. After I feel like I have adequately researched my topic and I've taken notes on all aspects of what exactly I'm thinking about talking about, I then took the same 2 pages in my bullet journal, and on this right side I made a little like mind map flowchart type thing with the ideas I kind of wanted to touch on and the points I wanted to make. And so this was just kind of as a planning stage, because I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to say, but I instead just wanted to kind of bring my thoughts together after reading so much about my topic. And so after that, I got my computer out and I typed up verbatim what I wanted to say in my speech. I found this really useful because after I wrote out my entire speech, I put a timer on my phone and I read my entire speech aloud as if I was giving that as a speech to an audience. And that was just to see if I could make it in my time limit comfortably without rushing or slowing down. And so after I did that, after I had my entire speech written out, I then condensed that completely into an outline. Since I was allowed to use note cards during my speech, I condensed that speech into my outline on my note cards. But if you aren't allowed to use note cards, or you have to use an outline instead, then definitely do that on like a normal sheet of paper or even on Microsoft Word or any other word processing system. And as soon as you have it on index cards or in an outline format, the best thing to do then is to, again, kind of give your speech then to yourself, maybe in front of a mirror, and record yourself, so that way you can both time yourself and listen back to how you gave that speech. And when you were doing that, make sure you take note as to when you use those filler words like or so and all of those things that you would normally use in conversation but aren't really the best to use while you're giving a formal speech. And so as you do that, you can get more comfortable with giving that speech, even if it's not to an audience yet. After you have gotten comfortable enough using a visual aid with your index cards, if you are able to use both in your speech, then make sure that you practice. Practice, 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 practice. I cannot emphasize this enough because I had about 2.5 to 3 weeks notice for my assignment for the English oratory I had to give. So within a 1.5 week time period, I must have practiced my speech to my parents and my brother at least like 30 or 40 times really. So I got to the point where I had them sitting in front of me. I gave my entire speech. They had timed me, and I just wanted to be sure I stayed within my time limit because it's easy to get carried away or even just talk so fast that you rush through the material and you have totally decreased the impact of your speech. And so have them, after you give your speech, have them give you feedback on if you kind of swayed or you had gestures or rushed your words or used filler words, and have them like give feedback as an audience, and that will only make you better. This part can be very, very scary, but it is the thing that's going to benefit you the most, especially if you are nervous talking in front of a group of 15 or 20 people. And as you do that, make sure that you feel that you can give your speech without using the things that are given to you, like your visual aid or your note cards. And like for me personally, I had practiced my speech so much that during the actual speech, I didn't look at my index cards once, just because I knew it and I was kind of in the flow and in the zone of being able to deliver the speech with confidence. And so my last tip for you guys is 2 to 3 days before the date in which you have to give your speech is to stop changing it. Don't alter it, don't add in things or anything about 3 days before your speech. And for those last 3 days, you can relax. You can just practice what you already have and just continually work on what you have rather than adding. Because if you continuously add to your speech right up to the day that you have to give it, there's a really good chance that you will forget what you wanted to add and what you wanted to take out, and it'll end up not being as successful as it could have been if you just drilled into your head the speech you really wanted to give. So I really hope that this video has helped someone who isn't really comfortable with speeches and doesn't really know how to prepare or deliver a speech. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'll be posting new videos every Wednesday, and definitely be sure to check out my 8Tracks, Tumblr, and Instagram accounts because I post new content regularly in all three. Bye guys!